I really set a standard for myself. It's just normal. But then you have to step it up another level to be above normal.
Welcome to the 2018 Jordan Brand Classic, presented by American Family Insurance. The best high school seniors in the country, the college and NBA stars of tomorrow, will meet here at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. We are so thrilled to be with you for this day of exciting talent of the future. Kevin Brown, Corey Alexander, Paul Biancardi alongside. The culmination of a terrific high school senior season. You've seen these players, Paul, not just this year, but in past years in some cases. This is a class that is sized up very well, and we're going to see some terrific talent on display.
Yeah, this event is one of the few times you can gather all this talent under one roof, and they're going to go head-to-head. The scrimmage yesterday was competitive. It was strong. I expect tonight's game to be exciting. And at the Jordan Brand Classic, Corey, you know this? There's no place to hide.
It's no place to hide at all, Paul. And we got the intro, of course. You get an opportunity to see Michael Jordan talking about the standard that he set for himself. He also sets it for this game. The Jordan Brand Classic is really the culmination of most of the Nike guys that have played in the Nike EYBL. This class moves on. A new class gets started in about 2 weeks. But this is a celebration for those guys who have made the EYBL so special their whole career.
Well, there's so many schools that are synonymous with that Nike name. One in particular synonymous with that Jordan Brand image, of course, the North Carolina Tar Heels. They've got some terrific players. Nasir Little, who was a star of the McDonald's All-American game. Kobe White, both top 20 players in the country, headed to UNC.
Yeah, Nasir Little, number 10 in the senior class. He was the MVP at the McDonald's game. His DNA is to attack the defense with powerful drives, a legitimate three-point shot, and a strong post-up game. His running mate at North Carolina, Kobe White, he's the type of guy who's going to make it from deep, hand out the assist, the all-time leading scorer in the state of North Carolina.
And, Paul, these two guys will go up against another combination ahead of about 8 miles down the road at Duke. Trey Jones, who is one of the top point guard in the country. You see the beautiful passing from him. And Trey Jones is the consummate floor general. The ability to get to the mid-range, score in the mid-range, around the free throw line, floaters, everything going on. And then when you think about Cam Reddish, he's the guy that's allowing them to continue to build the best class probably in the history of college basketball, where you've got the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 player in the country, as Brooke has the opportunity to get a chance to talk to Cam Reddish. And Cam Reddish, of course, when we talk about what he's able to do, Paul, you and I both agree, he has Tracy McGrady-like skill level. Not sure he plays like Tracy McGrady at this point, but his skill level is on that level of Tracy McGrady.
He's terrific with the ball in his hands. He may be the most talented player in the senior class.
Cam Reddish and Trey Jones, of course, part of that 1, 2, 3, and then Trey Jones, number 12 overall Duke class, the top 3 players. R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson, unfortunately not playing in the game today. Barrett needs some rest. He's won the national championship. He's played everything else. Williamson with that thumb injury in the McDonald's game. Cam Reddish, Trey Jones are here, and Brooke Weisbrod is there.
That's right, Cam. So this is a huge game. As you know, you played in a lot of All-Star games. How is this one different?
So,
how is this All-Star game different from the others?
I mean, it's more competitive, I think. Everybody here is really fighting for a spot, and it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And Trey, like this, I know this is old news for you too as well. A lot of All-Star games. What is important in a good start in a game like this?
Right, just competing with everybody out here. We got some of the best guys in the country, so just bringing it from the start.
All right, they're calling your name. Let's get to it. Good luck.
Brooke, thank you. Starting lineups. The white team versus the black team in this game here at the Jordan Brand Classic. 24 of the top high school players in the country. A few out of the game due to injury. For the white team, it will be Jones, Andrew Nembhard, and Romeo Langford, who's still the big unknown. Number 5 player in the class. Is it Indiana? Is it Vanderbilt? Is it Kansas? We'll find out soon. Cameron Reddish and Jalen Smith with Grimes, Dosunmu Williams, and Cole Swider, the national champions, off the bench. Black team, a few more healthy bodies. Kobe White joined by Will Richardson and Tyler Hero, Nasir Little, and Bol. Hard to miss him on the tip. Son of Manute, 7'2" center, number 4 player in this class, headed to the Oregon Ducks. First shot is a miss from Nasir Little, and we are underway. The 17th Jordan Brand Classic. 2 20-minute halves to mirror the college game. The white team with the ball as the home team in this Jordan Brand Classic. And the first basket, the man of the hour, Cam Reddish, number 3 in the class.
How about Corey Alexander right on cue? He talked about Trey Jones as the assist maker, Cam Reddish as a three-point shooter. You knew that shot was coming, Corey.
I've been following you way too long, PB. That's all that is. I've been hanging out, listening to your information.
You're reading those evaluations. I like it. But how about the driving kick by Jones, and Reddish, when he knocks down threes, really dynamic because he's so good with the ball in his hands at 6'8".
Will Richardson, nifty crossover, misses from 3. Trey Jones is the number 1 point guard in the class. On the floor with Nembhard, the 2 point guards. And if you get the ball to 22, you're going to have some success today.
Well, and Cam Reddish is the highest rated player playing in this class. You mentioned earlier R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson both not playing. And Cam Reddish is one of those guys to where you're just waiting for that motor to kick in because the talent level is there, but he shows it to you in so many different aspects of the game. Not only a scorer, but the ability to be a playmaker as well.
Kobe White with the stuff. 6'4", 170-pound point guard, the all-time leading scorer in the state of North Carolina. And there is Romeo Langford. They've got Langford fever in Indiana. Hoosiers, Vanderbilt, or Kansas, the 3 finalists. The decision coming some point in the next couple of weeks.
And it's amazing how these guys know each other so well. Paul, when Romeo Langford brought the ball wide open in the wing, Cam Reddish held up the threes knowing the shot was already good.
And we welcome those of you joining us after softball. We're at the Jordan Brand Classic, 17th annual boys game. Kevin Brown, Corey Alexander, Paul Biancardi, Brooke Weisbrod with us as well. Black team versus the white team, 20 of the best in high school basketball this year. All these players seniors. Headed to the next level. Romeo Langford, the top undeclared player in the class with a miss. And the follow there from Jalen Smith, number 4 power forward, headed to Maryland.
Jalen Smith, 15 in the white, one of the most improved players in the class. A year ago, he was an athlete, rim guy, shot blocker. Now he's a basketball player.
And when you mention Jalen Smith, you also have to mention he goes by the nickname Sticks. Played at Mount St. Joe's at Baltimore, also for Keith Stevens, a team takeover. And a young man, as you mentioned, PB, really has grown as a basketball player by leaps and bounds over the last season alone.
Here is Bol Bol, the 7'2" son of Manutes.
Bol Bol making a play off the dribble. We talked about combinations. We got an Oregon combination as well. Will Richardson, Bol Bol, both those guys going up to Eugene for Coach Dana Altman.
Number 3 overall class in the country right now behind Duke and UCLA, the Oregon Ducks. They also have Lewis King, number 14 player who is out with an injury for this game. Tyler Hero, Kentucky bound. Bol can shoot. That's a long 2. At 7'2", 220, Bol has staggering potential.
That's what he does best, is shoot the ball. He's finesse at 7'2". He is a rim protector. He is a finisher. But I'll tell you what, at 7'2", he's got unbelievable mobility and skill.
And I guess it's probably an understatement to call him a stretch 5, but when you talk about his ability to shoot the basketball, he is one of those guys that will definitely bring opposing centers out of the paint, and it's a dimension to his game that's not just something that he does okay. He's a very good shooter.
That Oregon class for Dana Altman, 4 commits, all in the ESPN 100. Will Richardson out of Oak Hill on the floor right now. Ducks coming off a disappointing season, missed the NCAAs. They lose Troy Brown, but they'll bring back some key pieces and bring in some dynamic freshmen. Trey Jones is fouled. 12-12 start here at the Jordan Brand Classic. What a year it's been for Nasir Little, MVP of the McDonald's game, and an early hammer in Brooklyn.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the 2018 Jordan Brand Classic is brought to you by Jordan Brand. Next versus next. Upper Deck Authenticated, the world's greatest memorabilia, and Gatorade Thirst Quencher, the proven sports fuel.
I will be joining the Brotherhood of Duke University.
Center. Welcome back to the Jordan Brand Classic here at the Barclays Center. I'm sitting on the bench here. Maybe I'll get in the game for a minute or not, I don't know. But one player we won't see in the game today, unfortunately, Zion Williams. And Zion, I know you're disappointed not to play, but you are here with your brothers at this event. And how much fun has it been for you to kind of learn from them and not have to be the shining star in this game?
First of all, I'd like to thank Jordan Brand for still allowing me to come down here. It's been a great overall experience.
What do you think of New York?
It's a great city. We got to walk around and like just look around the city. And they nice touch that Jordan Brand did. They had us like on the billboard in Times Square.
Well, that's just the beginning, my friend. You're going to see that a lot more as time goes by. And as you're sitting here more kind of being an analyst to this game, what have you seen both at the start of this and yesterday at practice that impressed you?
I'm going to say my boy Emmett Williams, his motor, Romeo Langford's ability to just score like it's nothing, Trey Jones' passing ability, and Cam Reddish's versatility.
Right, you got to be excited watching your Duke teammates out here getting hyped. I know there's a search still for the nickname, the 4 signees. Have we come up with anything?
We're still thinking about that one. We haven't come up with one yet.
All right, we'll put it out on the Twitter. Maybe we'll get it going. Maybe the Duke fans can help you out. Hey, Cameron Crazies, we need a nickname for the 4 signees headed to Duke. So, Zion, I know last week you had hurt your thumb. We got a cast on your right hand right now. How's everything feeling, and do you have a timeline on your return?
It's feeling fine right now. I'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks. It wasn't as bad as people thought.
That's great news to hear. We're excited to see you back out on the floor, and thanks so much for taking some time with us.
Brooke, thank you. Nice that Zion's able to be here. Number 2 player in the class as part of that epic Duke class. Of course, all good classes need a nickname, so they haven't proved anything yet because they don't have a nickname. But we'll get there.
I'm sure that,
Do you have any ideas?
I do not have any ideas, and of course, without me being part of the Brotherhood, I don't think I would have the option to give one anyway, but PB might have something for us.
Tar Heels. Wow. That's a great name. That'll get
What
him fired up.
What a move that is.
That will get him fired up every day. Let me tell you something about this class. Top 3 players in the class, including Trey Jones, number 12. It's a very unselfish group with great versatility. You know, the pieces change every year at Duke. You never know who's leaving, but you do know who's coming in. They're going to be an unbelievable team in terms of versatility and athleticism, maybe the best that Coach K's had. Now, last year he had the best size in college basketball with Carter and Bagley, but versatility and athleticism could be the best.
And they will also play different. You know, you talked about the 2 bigs with Carter and Bagley on the floor last year. They went back to a traditional 3-out, 2-in playing style, but then when you look at the guys that they're bringing in this season, they will play the 4 perimeter players once again. Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett, and Zion Williamson, all those guys with the ability to play on the perimeter. And Paul, as you mentioned, that versatility will make them extremely difficult to guard.
They'll attack the mismatch better than anyone else in college basketball because Reddish, Barrett, and Zion can all go inside. They can all play outside.
And the biggest recruiting job, in my opinion, for Coach K this spring will be Marquise Bolden and making sure that he's there to have that centerpiece for those guys to be able to play around.
There's Jalen Award, who will be in the state just down the road at Wake Forest. Top signee for the Demon Deacons in 10 years. Number 14 for the team in black.
And I believe Jalen Hoare will go in and make an immediate impact with Danny Manning. His ability to put the ball on the floor and make plays off the dribble. And he can play both the 3 and 4 spots. So what they have coming back, if they're able to keep Ryan Crawford and the core that they have there, they can definitely make an impact for Danny Manning and his team and try to get them back into the NCAA tournament.
That is Javonte Smart, number 3, headed to LSU. The number 5 class in the country. Will Wade has certainly turned things around quickly at LSU. Sharif O'Neal with a miss from 3, and there's a young man who will not be playing in college. Darius Baisley. What you do about his announcement in the NBA G League, one of the top 10 players in this class. A stuff by Emmett Williams on the other end, but it is Baisley, originally the Syracuse commit, guys, with that shocking announcement just a couple of weeks ago that he will bypass college and head directly to the G League.
Well, I loved hearing Zion Williamson talk about Emmett Williams' motor. That was the first thing that he really recognized about practice yesterday. And Emmett Williams, one of the best. When you talk about giving effort on the floor, he's one of the best in the country of getting it done. Undersized 4-man, but yet you would never know by the way he approaches the game.
We got some hard-playing dudes in this class. Emmett Williams, as you coach Corey at Oak Hill, Keldon Johnson plays very hard. I mean, possession with passion. Nazir Little plays. He's an everyday player. These guys bring it. Trey Jones, I think, plays hard all the time. This is a good group when it comes to effort.
Quentin Grimes, the last bucket. Number 8 overall in the class. He said the Kansas Jayhawks.
Beautiful feed there by Darius to Darius. Garland to Baisley on the baseline right there. And my guy Darius Garland cutting the hair.
He had prom last night.
Yeah, he had the prom last night.
He had to look good for pictures.
Yeah.
Little ball screen. Garland gets into the paint, little look away, left-handed bullet.
That's a beautiful pass.
Now Baisley, you know, he wants to go to the G League. He's going to have a difficult time trying to finish that with men among men.
We're going to talk about Darius Baisley. We're going to talk to Darius Baisley when we return to Brooklyn. A trend-setting decision? We'll see. Couple of potential future Tar Heel greats. There's a former Heel great, Rasheed Wallace, no doubt listening to the game on his ESPN app while here. 16,006 career points in a decorated career for Rasheed. Well, we were talking Darius Baisley before we went to break. This is a young man who was headed to Syracuse, signed with the Orange, and he decided to play instead in the NBA G League, developmental Gatorade League. G for Gatorade, the sponsor. He's the first player really of any significant merit to do that. He hopes to be a trendsetter. It's a decision that has inspired a lot of ink, frankly, Paul. People have been interested in it both ways. What was your reaction to the move?
Well, first of all, let's just mention his game real quick. He's more of a prospect than a player. He's skilled, he's long, he's athletic, he's got a soft touch. Good instincts. But he shies away from contact. His body is not developed yet. He's more finesse than physical. And he's light, especially in the keister. Okay, he's light in the keister. You know what that is? All right, the derriere. And you need that body when it comes to playing against grown men. And you're going into a league, Corey, with men among men. And you're not getting that, I think, that development and that progression that you get in college. The time, the shots, the minutes, it's all going to be different in the G League.
You're absolutely right, Paul. We got a chance to see Rasheed Wallace over there. Well, I had the opportunity to coach Darius Baisley a couple years ago at the Nike Elite 100. I like Darius a lot as a basketball player. The one thing that I will say, and we talked about Rasheed's teammate at North Carolina, Jerry Stackhouse, is coaching, the Toronto Raptors G League squad, the 905. I watched them intentionally the other night when we got down on Friday to see the level of play in the G League. I played in the D League way back in 2002, 2003. The level of physicality in that league right now, in my opinion, I think Darius Baisley will be very far behind. And I think it's something to where when he goes and he has to play against these men, because he's not playing against guys his age. He's going to be playing against men who have been cut from teams, men who are trying to feed their families. I think it's going to be a tremendous adjustment for him, and honestly a struggle early. Not to say that he can't pick it up, but again, I think the physicality of the game will be the biggest difference.
There is Baisley finishing in the lane. Baisley told the Players Tribune he'll be around NBA games. He'll focus on his body. He'll focus on his development 24/7. He wants to adopt an NBA practice schedule. I know you talked to him, Paul, and he said, listen, I wasn't going to attend a school at this point with the intent on pursuing my degree. He wanted to turn professional, make some money, and get onto an NBA regimen.
And that's exactly right. He did not want to attend class, and that's fine. It wasn't Syracuse he didn't want to go to. He didn't want to go to college. And kids have that right, and that's what the G League is all about. But who is ever advising him needs to understand there's a physical, a mental, and an emotional learning curve. When you go from high school to college, let alone high school to a professional league, he needs great support around him to succeed.
And the one thing, and I do not want anyone to get the misconception that Darius Baisley is not a very intelligent kid, because he is extremely bright. And this was an educated decision on his part. A lot of thought and process went into this process. He's a very bright young man making what he feels is an educated decision. So this is not a spur-of-the-moment decision. he has definitely put a lot of thought, he and his group, into this.
Baisley with the last two on a dunk. Javonte Smart, a 4-on-1 for Team Black. Well defended, though, and flung away for a 4-on-1 for Team White. Emmett Williams with a throwdown.
And you see Emmett Williams, since he's come into the game, you see his energy and his effort and his production, regardless of the size. And people always get caught up in talking about the fact that he's 6'5" or 6'6", and will be playing primarily in the post. His energy and effort allows him to play with anyone, regardless of height.
Williams, another high percentage look.
But his jump shot's really improved, Emmett Williams. I watched him yesterday in practice like you guys did. He was making shots in the shooting drills. If he can stretch the floor a little bit, that opens up his game.
We were talking Darius Baisley, couple of baskets for the Black team.
And Baisley is very skilled. You're talking 6'8", 6'9", the ability to handle the basketball, put it on the floor, make plays. And then you see his energy, his effort, and of course the ability to finish around the rim.
That's a great rebound in traffic, going to get it. A lot of upside in his game.
Colby White, the starters, back out for the Black team. Bull back into the game. On the leak ahead, Jones.
Trey Jones getting out in transition. I was waiting to see if Trey was going to dunk that one. You know, Trey's older brother, Tyus, of course, now in his third year in the NBA for the Minnesota Timberwolves and making his way. But you have to look at Trey. Paul, we talk about the comparison between the two when we come back.
Ahead by 1 point, and I'm standing here with Darius Baisley, who's having a huge impact on this game and also maybe a future trendsetter. Darius, the first guy to jump straight from high school to the G League. Darius, what a great article you had written yesterday in the Players Tribune that came out. What was the decision behind writing that article and explaining your story?
Well, the decision and, you know, the main point of me getting that article written was because a lot of people didn't really fully understand why I did what I did. And I just wanted to, as best as I could in that article, just try and, you know, get people the full perspective on why I did what I did, so that way there's no any confusion or anything like that. Just to kind of let people know where I'm coming from and why I did what I did.
And some of the highlights in that article that I really liked is you talking about preparing yourself for an NBA schedule against NBA competition and NBA practices. So for those who still want to criticize why you didn't make the decision to go to college, why is it important for you to be against next level competition every day?
Because that's the ultimate goal, to get to the NBA. And, you know, I just feel like being in the G League provides more than it would if I was in college. Like I said, I'm trying to prepare for an NBA schedule, prepare for that, you know, NBA type of lifestyle, and I feel like I'm going to get just that in the G League, if not, you know, more. And I also feel like I'm going to be a step ahead of the guys that's in my draft class because I've had that experience.
We hear some of the guys in our analysts today, Paul Biancardi and Corey Alexander, talking about some things that, you know, they would love to see from you to work on, and certainly building strength is going to be one of the key elements. What kind of feedback are you getting about your game, about what's good and what needs to be improved?
I mean, of course my body needs to be improved, and there's always room to improve in your game. You know, no one's flawless, but you know, the type of reports I'm getting back is they think that I can do it. You know, they're rooting for me, that I strive and get through this. You know, a lot of people are just saying, you know, just continue to work. Obviously, like I said, my body, that's the biggest thing. I feel like if I get that, that'll take me to that next level. Just being able to take that bump and finish through the bump and stuff like that. Of course, working on my jump shot and repping the NBA 3 constantly. But for the most part, that's pretty much it. And getting those NBA reads.
Well, congratulations on the article and the big decision. I know that wasn't an easy one to make, but we look forward to seeing you next year in the G League. All right, thanks, Darius.
Thank you.
Brooke, thank you. You know, we touched on Darius's decision and his game, guys. I'm just curious, as a final bow on this, do you think this is the kind of trend-setting move he believes it might be? Will this start guys going to the G League from high school?
Only if he's successful at it. It depends how he does in the G League and where he ends up in the NBA draft and how he plays in the NBA. That will be a large part whether or not kids are going to follow. He has a plan. It's a priority for him. Intelligent young man, great kid to talk to, and really a fun-loving kid to be around. He believes in his plan. He's going to stick to it. We'll see where it ends up in 2 to 3 years.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think the proof is in the pudding, and I was asked yesterday, what is a victory for him? And I believe that, the people that I was talking to were asking me about what the numbers would be. The only victory is if he is an NBA first-round pick in the 2019 draft. If he's a first-round pick, then it was a victory. If he's picked apart and he's showing more of the things that what he can't do in comparison to what he can do against that level of competition, it no longer becomes a victory.
Take a look at this last basket for Team Black. From Bol Bol, the 7'2" son of Manute, future Oregon Duck.
And Bol, you talk about the size, but the skill level at 7'2", you don't have many guys that can do the things as far as his agility, and we talked about his shooting ability. He's the number 4 player in the class for a reason, but his potential definitely allows him to be clearly one of those guys that could be shoot to the top of that list.
I spoke to some NBA scouts in the last week from McDonald's, put together a little list of who they thought would be most draft worthy just based on McDonald's practices, the scrimmage, the game, and obviously practice yesterday. R.J. Barrett unanimously number 1. The scouts love the upside, as we do, of Cam Reddish. Naz Reid, who's headed to LSU. They're so intrigued with his body and his skill level at 6'10". And, of course, Bol Bol on that list at 7'2". He's so unique to the game. You just don't expect a guy that big. He almost defies logic when you watch him play at 7'2". See, look at that. One dribble into a jump shot, and it looked good. It didn't go in.
Well, and it's online. Regardless as to whether the shot went in or not, it has a chance because it's online. He's shooting that off the dribble. And, again, each and every one of these guys, and I like the fact that Darius mentioned it, none of their games are flawless. Each and every one of these guys has to recognize that they still have a long way to go to improve, even not just today, but as they move forward into college and on to the NBA. And that's the thing. If you have that mentality that you're going to continue to prove each and every day, now that's what allows you to be successful in this game.
Cam Reddish, the number 3 player in the class for that number 1 overall Duke class. What a terrific game right now.
I think he can be special. He is a playmaker at 6'8". He's got all the tools. He's got the IQ. He's just got to rev up that motor a little bit more, especially on the defensive end. But with the ball in his hands, there's not many better in this class. Look at that move. Wow.
Paul, we saw a guy this season who we watched a lot in high school, and we said, that motor just needs to be picked up a little bit more. And when he got to college, that motor kicked in significantly. So I think that guy would be DeAndre Ayton.
No question.
We watched him throughout the EYBL. He would have moments, but when he got it going, and for Sean Miller, you could tell he was one of the best players in the country this season.
Tomorrow, an NBA Special Edition matchup between Western Conference teams in the playoff bubble, Pelicans and Clippers at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. Maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. will be watching. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown a half hour beforehand on ESPN and the ESPN app. Oh, big throwdown. Ayo Dosunmu headed to Illinois with the lob, and Emmett Williams now 8 for 8 in the game. The LSU-bound power forward from Oak Ridge, Florida.
Kevin, we told you about Emmett Williams' production, and this is what he does regardless of the competition, regardless of the game. This is the type of production that Emmett Williams gives you every time out. And you look at the guys on the white team as they're able to get it done. Emmett Williams finishing over the top as White gets it going, but Emmett Williams flying high and showing off his skills here in Brooklyn.
Tomorrow, today, and a few tomorrows ago, it was Kevin Durant at the 2006 Jordan Brand Classic, the Garden. Thad Young, 28 points and 13 rebounds. He would go on to have a terrific NBA career. Played here in Brooklyn a bit. Durant, the co-MVP, 16, 7, 3 blocks. The white team defeated the black team 108-95. Those who keep score at home. Durant, Thad Young, 2 of dozens and dozens of future college and NBA stars who have played in the 17-year history of this Jordan Brand Classic. The hashtag they're using is Next versus Next. We'll find out who is next. Maybe Cole Swider headed to Villanova. Played for the defending national champions. Out of St. Andrew's School in Providence, Rhode Island. A chance for a three-point play.
Cole Swider plays for a great head coach at Mike Hart. Top 10 in the class. R.J. Barrett right now unanimous. Zion Williamson holding at number 2. We have not seen an athlete like Zion Williamson. I have not seen an athlete like Zion Williamson in my lifetime come out of high school. And I saw LeBron come out. I saw all the great ones. I know Vince Carter was a sensational, explosive athlete, but he didn't have the strength and the power that Zion Williamson has. He's going to bring that to Duke.
That's a pretty big statement right there. Well, I mean, again, and I'm not saying I disagree with you. Now, LeBron James, in my opinion, may be the best athlete to ever play the game of basketball when you think about the size, speed, and his explosiveness. But when it comes to dunking, I agree. Now, Vince Carter is the best dunker I've ever seen. Zion's probably second. LeBron's probably the best athlete I've seen. And Zion may be in that class. So that's a huge statement right there.
Well, I can one-up you on that one because I recruited LeBron James out of high school for 2 years. Sensational athlete, doesn't have that girth, doesn't have that weight and that power-packed strength that Zion has. He was strong. He was wiry strong. Great explosive athlete. But Zion as an athlete, the real deal.
Finish there from Sharif O'Neal, son of Shaq. Finish there from Emmett Williams.
And that's all Emmett Williams is continuing to do. Is just finish time and time again.
Yeah, the only problem is when you go to college, you don't get those dunks. The transition game goes away. You got to score over a set defense. Emmett Williams.
Are you saying that there's defense in the college game? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, there's zone defense too. No, Emmett Williams has really improved his skill, but where he beats up on everybody, that motor is second to none. That kid plays as hard as anybody in the class, and that guy there can shoot it going to Villanova.
Absolutely. Coach Wilder going to be one of those guys that Jay Wright is able to use to stretch the floor, very similar to the way that they did this season all year long. And part of the reason why they're one of the best three-point shooting college teams of all time.
Sunday Night Baseball tonight following our game. The Mets looking for a sweep and an early season statement of Bryce Harper, the Nationals at 8 Eastern. Coverage begins at 7 with baseball tonight. Sunday Night Countdown, both streaming live on the ESPN app.
Cole Swider told me yesterday at practice, I said, what did Coach Wright say to you after the national championship? He said he called me the next night and he said, you're next. You got to get one for us next. How about Jay Wright calling you and saying, you're next? Next versus next, right?
Is that pressure? Is that any type of pressure at all?
I know. Cole Swider told me he was fired up, though. Jay Wright knows how to motivate him.
I'll tell you what, Cole Swider is definitely going to have to take on more of a responsibility because I can see most of that team being in the NBA draft this year. When you think about Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, who knows if Amari Spellman even comes back, and then Pascal, whether he stays in college or not. Not to say that these guys are going, but I believe that all four of those guys, as well as Dante DiVincenzo, all five of those guys at some point will play in the NBA.
Well, on paper, this may be the best class that Jay Wright has had. Javon Quinterly at the point, Brandon Slater, a small forward. We talked about Swider. This class, 3 ESPN Top 100 players. And Jay Wright does a phenomenal job at emphasizing the fundamentals and recruiting shooters.
He recruits to the strengths of the way that he wants to play. He doesn't have to have the guys ranked at the top of the class. He has to have the guys that play the way that he wants them to play, which is the reason why he's won 2 national championships in the last 3 seasons.
But you got to have a few ranked players, right? Because in the starting lineup, he had 4 top 100 players, but he developed them over time, and that's your point. They come back and they emphasize the fundamentals. That's why they beat teams. Talent and coaching. Agreed.
Minute 10 in this first half. White team is on a big run right now. Up by 4. Speaking of that Villanova team, 3 ESPN 100 recruits, number 10 class. UCLA has the most in the ESPN 100, including Sharif O'Neal in the game here. But it is Duke number 1 by a country mile. Trey Jones headed to Duke. And a little bit too much air for Quentin Grimes.
And you still got, in this game, Romeo Langford looking at Kansas, Vanderbilt, Indiana. E.J. Montgomery, who's not in this game, still on the board, Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina, Vanderbilt. So there's a couple more guys out there that could change the rankings.
Those are the 2 big ones in the top 16. Montgomery is 16. Langford 5th. He said he is not going to make his decision until after the Nike Hoop Summit. He'll announce in his hometown of New Albany before the end of April. Indiana has gone crazy for him. Folks there have compared it to Damon Bailey type fever for Romeo Langford. Vanderbilt's been in the running for a long time, and I know that people have seen Indiana and Vanderbilt as 1-2 for a while, but let's not forget there's a guy on the bench right now, Mr. Williamson, who people thought, well, Clemson and South Carolina are 1-2, and then a pretty good program came in late. So I wouldn't discount Kansas just yet for Langford as he makes that decision.
But you definitely don't discount Kansas, especially the program that Bill Self has built, one of the top programs in the country. But when you look at the fact that you already have Quentin Grimes, you already have Devin Dotson, you already have that talent in the backcourt that is going to Kansas, especially considering what they have coming in. Charlie Moore will be there off of his redshirt year. Then you have both the Lawson twins, Dietrich and KJ Lawson. So now when you look at that, does that become a scenario where Romeo Langford gets the opportunity to go in and play the way that he wants to play? Is that the right fit? And I think that's going to be the biggest concern for Langford, is the right fit. Which one of those three schools allows him to have the most success possible in a freshman, which would possibly be his only year.
Nice finish by Jalen Horde. Wake Forest bound small forward at a Wesleyan Christian Academy in High Point. Chance for three.
And Jalen Horde, the ability to get out in transition. You talk about the strong body and finishing over the top. Really made a name for himself with the CP3 All-Stars last year. Probably the best player at CP3 alongside with Kobe White. Those two guys made a vicious combination.
Javonte Smart not looking to draw the charge as Cole Swider finishes. There is no such thing as hold for the last shot typically in these sorts of games. Although the black team may pull it out for a bit with Darius Garland.
You got one of the smart guys out there now. Darius Garland running the show. He's not going to waste the opportunity.
He's going to Vanderbilt. That makes him one of the smart guys. Sharif O'Neal, no. Couldn't get a second chance on the rim. That is the end of an unsurprisingly frenetic first half. White team 67, the black team 64. Back with our halftime report from Barclays after these messages. Welcome back to the 2018 Jordan Brand Classic, presented by American Family Insurance. 3-point game after 20 minutes here at Barclays Center. White home team leading the black road team 67-64. Future NBA stars are in the building. One current NBA standout, Tim Hardaway Jr. is with our own Brooke Weisbrod.
That's right, sitting next here to Tim Hardaway Jr., a phenomenal player in the league and also catching some talent here today. So having a seat like this close, what kind of talent are you witnessing out here?
A lot of great talent. You know, first of all, it's an honor to be here, you know, represented. And, you know, it's great just to see these guys out here performing, showcasing their talent, showcasing what they can do out there on the floor, and playing with guys that they never played with before. So it's a great opportunity for them and a great opportunity for us as well.
You know, you have a past full of all-star games and making it to the league, and that's where these guys are right now. That's what they're thinking about, is how do I get better? How do I get to where you're at right now? So if you had a couple minutes to give them some advice, what are the key things you're telling them?
You know, one of the key things is, you know, sacrifice. You have to sacrifice a lot of things, you know, to get to where you want to get to and to reach your goals. And one that's being keep your inner circle close, keeping close people around you that will do good in your life on and off the floor, and that will help you out along the way. And that's definitely one of the key things that I take serious, is sacrificing your time and your dedication, and sacrificing for the game of basketball. And if you do that, I'm pretty sure you will reach your goal and become an NBA ball player.
Sacrifice and being around good people sounds like a message John Beilein would preach to his team. Your Michigan Wolverines had an incredible run. They got to the championship game. What do you have to say about the performance of your team this year?
It was great. They surprised a lot of people, including myself. And with a leader like Muhammad Ali and Xavier and Mo, you know, just following those guys, it's incredible just to watch them play. Coach Beilein does a great job of recruiting people that fits his system, and we know he's going to continue to do that. So it was great just to watch them perform like that and represent the Block M.
Tim, thanks so much for your time. And I think one of the most memorable things I've ever seen you do is the Timmy Shimmy. I wonder if you could just give me a little preview.
There you go, a little Timmy Shimmy.
The little shake. I like it. Thanks, Tim.
Wow, fantastic. Wait till you see Paul's version of that here in the second half. You have put together, however, Mr. Biancardi, a special group for us. Mr. White on the left, Mr. Little on the right, both going to North Carolina. But more importantly, Paul, they're on your all-hair team.
Well, I'm into rankings, you know, so why not rank the hair? Kobe White, I mean, look at that. That is an afro on steroids, what he's got right there. And Naz Little, his running mate at North Carolina, I don't know what he calls it, Corey, but he says he should win this ranking. Bol Bol, Jalen Smith, Sticks, and Will Richardson comes in 5th, but that is my all-hair team for the Jordan Brand Classic.
But did Darius Garland, was he on that team before he cut his hair?
No, he didn't make the top 5. He was in the top 10, but look, Kobe White wins that thing going away.
Who's the all-hair winner of this table? I think we know who it is.
Oh, absolutely. Look at that lettuce right there. Look at that.
Baby. It's never going away. Never.
Paulie, we all know you got the best hair out of this group, and I'm over here with the girls team, and there's kind of a debate going on between Trey Jones and Kobe Jones about who's got the best hair, so we got a straight-up battle.
Well, Trey does have
Kobe White, I'm sorry.
Trey does have the nice juices and berries now. I mean, again, you can't deny that. Trey's got a nice head of hair on him as well.
He's got, what does he have?
Juices and berries? You don't know about juices and berries?
I don't know about juices.
We're in the city now, Harlem Nights. What are they number juices and berries?
Romeo Langford.
We're not in Harlem, though.
I didn't say, I said we're in the city.
Okay.
Romeo Langford would be 6th on that list, just in case you guys are wondering.
You always have to have a 6th man.
Yes.
All right, second half is underway. Jalen Smith, all-hair participant with a miss.
By the way, when you leave here,
your
hood cred is depleted. But you don't know juices and berries.
Oh,
my goodness.
You think I had hood cred?
If you ever had
a mistake on
it
your
is
part.
Gone now.
Yeah. I'm wearing a pink shirt, man. Will Richardson headed to Oregon with Bol Bol, his teammate, on the floor, and his pocket picked by Trey Jones. Here come the juices and berries. Look out, Sticks.
Trey Jones may be the best defensive guard in the class. He gets the steal, he pushes it. Beautiful dime.
And then, Paul, when you talk about that, does that allow Coach K to go back to playing man-to-man defense this season and scrapping the zone that he had to go with his group? Is he able to go back and say, we're going to become a man-to-man defensive team again?
In theory, yes, because he can switch and keep people in front of him with great length. But the problem is this. The team is so young. It's so hard to learn man-to-man defense, as you know, Corey. So sometimes Coach K puts that zone in because it's easier for guys to know where they are on the floor defensively.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. But I think with the class that he has coming in, just like the class that Oregon has coming in, I believe that both these defensive-minded coaches, and, of course, Coach K, now has the motto of being an offensive coach. When I played against the Duke Blue Devils, who won the 1991-1992 national championships, they were a defensive group that played in passing lanes, put a lot of pressure on you defensively, with Christian Laettner playing back in the hole. So therefore, I know the game has changed, but I would love to see if they could get back to that. And I know my buddy Grant Hill, who's a new Hall of Famer, would love to see that as well. He was actually, as a player, surprised the fact that his coach, Coach K, is now playing a zone. We had a number of conversations about that. It was surprising to many of the Duke past players.
Well, what Coach K does, in my estimation, as well as anyone in the country, he takes the talent that he has, and then he formulates the game plan. And zone defense was right for this team, and offensively they were high-low. But when you look at this recruiting class, the versatility, the athleticism, the speed, the quickness, the length, it's a man-to-man team that could play some zone, depending upon who comes back. You talk about Marquise Bolden, talked about Javin DeLaurier and Alex O'Connell. Those guys should come back. They'll play with those freshmen. They'll go 7 deep.
Right now, Tyler Hero at the line, number 4 shooting guard in the class from Whitnall, Wisconsin, headed to Kentucky.
Not without controversy, though. The young man was actually committed to Wisconsin and changed his mind to go to Kentucky, but from Wisconsin, I'm sure he's caught a bit of flack over that in his home state, but you got to appreciate the young man following his heart and going to where it was he felt was going to be the best situation for him.
Oh, we talked about new Hall of Famers. One of them is with our own Brooke Weisbrod.
That's right. I'm sitting here next to a Hall of Famer, Ray Allen. And Ray, I mean, it seems like you look in great shape, like you're just ready to step out here and be on the floor today. But what kind of things have you been able to do since you've stopped playing to help you take care of yourself?
Well, it's a lot harder because you don't have the system of a franchise. You have cooks, you have meals most of the time to prepare for you. So I just took the information that I've had, what I've learned through different nutritionists and strength coaches over the years, and try to continue to instill that in my diet now. My kids, I want them to grow and eat right. So it's just being very aware of what I put in my body.
There's a lot about that in your new book, From the Outside, where you talk about your journey within the NBA, some of the training regimens you've had, and then kind of the growth outside of it and what you've seen from the outside in. And in one case, you talked about how you and LeBron James learned from each other, how to eat right and how to train well. What kind of advice would you give someone maybe like Zion Williamson and how to prepare his body?
Well, I always say that you never really know how your body, what your body is all about until you really have an injury. Because you start learning how to prepare better. You get into the gym earlier and you have to get your muscles warmed up. When you're young like this, you just go out in the gym and you just jump and you don't think about anything else. So as athletes, it's just important to know that you don't have anything else that can help you be successful. It's your body. That's the only thing that you have. So that's the one thing, if I can teach these kids and get into them, like just really prepare, like limit your intake of alcohol, of staying up late, because it's going to affect you at some point in that next day or that next game you play.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, from being in the NBA for so many years, a veteran, that you have to maintain that discipline. But when you watch it and just look at the basketball, the quality basketball that's being played, how is it different from the era when you were in high school and you were going through games like this?
I actually don't think the game is that much different. You can see that there's so much more flair in the game. The guys are way more talented, I think. A lot greater shooters. It seems like guys are jumping higher, but even then when you're young, there's only so much that can go on in a basketball game. But it's just great seeing the different personalities and the way the players can really just show their creative art, just their abilities to go out there and just think on the fly and do so many crazy things out there.
And of course you got the Hall of Fame call, so how does it feel?
I don't think it's sunken in yet, but it is something just so unimaginable. It's nothing that you ever dream about as a kid, because you just know there's so many other boxes that you have to check before you get to it. But it's been great because people all over the world that I've been in front of and around have contacted me and said congratulations, and it's a big deal, and I think it's something truly to really enjoy and soak up and cherish.
I think maybe we could enter you in the Hall of Fame as Ray Allen and Jesus Shuttleworth.
That would be a negative, because I'm sure, although the Hall of Fame it encompasses all basketball. That's the one thing that we want people to understand about it is it's not just NBA basketball. You have international, you have all women's sports, you have all women's college, all men's college. It spans so much, and so anything that had an impact on the game of basketball, I'm sure you'll find it somewhere in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Pretty awesome, Ray. Great to chat with you. Thanks so much for your time.
Hey, Brooke, you didn't mention, Ray forgot to tell you about his golf game. I mean, you think about everything else that he does. He's a big-time golfer as well. Often plays with the president or former president.
Almost 3,000 career three-pointers. Unimaginable numbers. What a career for Ray Allen, the Hall of Famer, with us in Brooklyn. Welcome back to the 2018 Jordan Brand Classic. 15 years ago today, LeBron James turned in the most dominant performance in the history of the JVC. 34 points, an all-time record, plus 12 rebounds, co-MVP. Awarded it by the man himself. Michael Jordan is here today at Barclays Center. Charlotte Hornets owner. Named Mitch Kupchak his general manager today for the Charlotte franchise. Great of Michael to show up once again. His legacy goes so deep off the court. You just look at the logo at center court. The iconic jump man. Talked about Michael in the open. We heard Michael talking about the standard that he set for himself. And it's a standard that even kids who are this young, who don't remember seeing Michael play live, I think still talk about and still try to replicate in their game.
And KB, I'm going to take you back to 1995, 96, when Jordan Brand was actually getting started. We used to play in a game in Greensboro, North Carolina, run by Fred Whitfield, who's been Michael's longtime, sidekick, and who's also a member of his administrative staff at the Charlotte Hornets. But that's when Jordan Brand was really getting going. We used to play at Fred's camp in a game called the World's Greatest Pickup Game. And the thing is, we would have a black team and a white team. but Michael would come in and wear maybe a red, maybe a blue, whatever color uniform that he wanted to wear, because he could play on both teams. And it was the beginning of Jordan Brand, so we were getting this gear that was amazing and no one had ever seen before. And as amazing as our stuff was on the teams, Michael would come in with something, Paul, that had us drooling. We wanted the stuff that he had on. So, again, a trendsetter from so many different areas, but especially with all the shoes and the gear that he wore.
He wanted to be like Mike.
He was.
How much of the gear from back then do you still have?
I don't have much of it now. Well, you know, I put on a few pounds since then, so I can't fit much of it. But I'm sure when I got back, you know, I had my boys and my friends and cousins and everybody who wanted a piece of everything that I was able to come in there with. But such a great experience to be able to play alongside Michael in those games. And, you know, we had the best of the best. You talk about Vince Carter, Jerry Stackhouse, Rodney Rogers, so many different guys, Rod Strickland, on and on, that played in that game. And it was always a good time.
Last bucket for Romeo Langford, undeclared number 5 player in the country. Lead is 7 for the white team, which has had a strong second half. Langford a little shaken up right now behind the play. And a stop play after this Darius Baisley dunk. Looked like Langford got hit in the face.
See Langford underneath the basket. Emmett Williams attacking the rim, and that left elbow of Williams actually catching Romeo Langford in the face, coming down, and that's tough to take right there. You never fault the effort. We definitely don't want to see guys get hurt in these games.
To add insult to it, first miss of the game for Williams, so that 9 for 9 first half, and a little friendly fire has shaken up Langford, who will head to the locker room.
Yeah, that hurt. You can see how the impact of Emmett Williams, the elbow on the face. I'm going to put some ice on that thing right now.
And Emmett making up for that missed shot, though.
Emmett's not stopping.
Opportunity for him to come back.
You know,
makes up for that last missed shot.
He didn't make the McDonald's All-American game, and he was a little bit upset about that. And I think he's taking it out here this afternoon with his effort.
Emmett's shot chart right now is just one giant X at the basket. He's 10 for 11. Cole Swider misses a 3. Darius Baisley tips it to himself. To the NBA G League top 10 prospect, number 2 power forward.
After a missed shot, Emmett Williams off the fake handoff to Trey Jones. The nice setup, and of course the finish, what he's continued to do here all afternoon long.
Will Wade's got to be home right now, either watching this or on DVR, being real excited about Emmett Williams, Naz Reid, Darius Days. We've got Javonte Smart.
Excited about that pass right there from Javonte Smart, who, in my opinion, Paul, when you talk about point guards, and again, I love Trey Jones, I love Darius Garland, all the point guards that are probably ranked ahead of Javonte Smart. But Javonte Smart is just as productive as any of those guys, and I think he will be at the next level. But his size at 6'4" makes him one of those guys I'm sure that the NBA scouts have to have an eye on, because you need that size to be able to play that position in today's game.
He just needs to develop the IQ of the position. I mean, he is a scoring point guard classic. He's had games over 50 points.
Great feed there. O'Neal couldn't finish, though, with Cole Swider contesting. There is Emmett Williams.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
He was looking for the assist and the bucket.
You know, Paul, and I'll go back to your comment about Javonte Smart. And Javonte Smart was a young player that really didn't score well. I think he was a guy that changed his game in the latter couple years to be more of a scorer, because he was really more of a true point guard early in his career. He won a gold medal with Don Showalter on the U16 and U17 teams as his starting point guard. He was more of a true point guard back at that time. He became more of a scorer later in his high school career.
Smart, O'Neal to Horde. Good contest by Emmett Williams. And Horde will keep it in bounds for the black team. O'Neal fouled on the way up. Son of Shaq, Sharif O'Neal, headed to UCLA. Had originally been committed to Arizona. The reports, though, of potential payments discussed by Sean Miller involving DeAndre Ayton and the controversy around that program. And O'Neal decommitted. Committed to UCLA February 27th, one of 5 ESPN 100 recruits for what is the #2 class in the nation.
And I can remember about 4 or 5 years ago doing a game at LSU. We talked about Will Wade and LSU, but doing a game at LSU, and Shaq actually came over and joined us at the table. And the entire time when we were off air, he kept showing me video of Shareef. Shareef was about 6'1" at the time, and he kept saying, "Corey, he's going to be a player. He's going to be a player." And the big fella knew what he was talking about, because Shareef has turned out to be a pretty good player. A nice touch from around the outside. His shooting ability is probably his greatest skill right now, and still growing as a young player.
He's the ultimate face-up man at 6'10". He's got excellent athletic ability. Dad played inside, Shareef plays outside. How about Emmett Williams trying to take a charge in that last possession?
And succeeding. We should give him the MVP right now.
Well, you know, Paul, and you know this, Emmett only has one speed. He's not one of those guys that recognizes, okay, well, it's an all-star game, I'm going to come in here and chill out. He only has one speed, and that one speed is to play hard and play the game the right way.
And you saw it again with another dunk. 11 for 12 for Williams. Inside Horde, the Wake Forest commit. Tre Jones, #1 point guard in this class of 2018. Great find. Swider a three. Duke to Villanova.
This guy just opens up the floor. You talk about spacing. He creates spacing with that jump shot. 6'8", 4-man, knocks it down.
Kickball will send us to a break. White team has hit the century mark. Emmett Williams has 22 of those 100.
And Tre Jones continues to find Emmett Williams the feed for the lob. Tre Jones, is he the best passer in this class, Paul Benkar?
Since 2014, John Calipari, Kentucky, Mike Krzyzewski at Duke. Tied the most ESPN 100 commits, and they're both in the mix for another one in the big man E.J. Montgomery. UCLA with 5 this year ahead of Arizona and Texas. Paul Biancardi, our top 5 teams.
And we didn't have enough room, but you could put Kansas on that list too at 14. So Kansas and Texas and Arizona were 14. John Calipari and Coach K have been in a personal battle the last 5 years in recruiting top 10 players and top 100 players. Kentucky got out to that early lead when Cal got to Lexington, but recently Coach K has really picked it up in the recruiting circles. Last 5 years he's had the #1 player 4 of the last 5 years. Duke's had the #1 class the last 4 to 5 years.
And you mentioned that recently, and a lot of that having to do with an assistant coach at Duke by the name of Jeff Capel, who was going to get one-and-done guys when he was the head coach at Oklahoma. Now Jeff Capel moving on to Pittsburgh. Do you think that that trend still continues at Duke, that Coach K continues to go after that same level of class?
Oh, I think he'll go after that same type of player. And as long as he is at the helm, I think they'll be very successful in terms of getting that top talent. He wants to recruit and coach one-and-done guys. John Calipari wants to do the same thing. Jay Wright, not a fan of it right now. Not that he'd turn away a one-and-done guy, but he has to take the right one-and-done player. Those two guys battle it out for the top players.
It's a great ball movement out here on the court. Again, Tre Jones, just the eye contact to Quentin Grimes, who was able to finish.
And that's a guy right there the NBA loves, Quentin Grimes. You know, he's a combo guard, great body, strong, reads the game so well. And you asked me about Tre Jones. Is he the best passer in the class? I think it's Andrew Nebhart, who's going to Florida. He's in this game. He had 4 assists at the half. I think he is the best overall passer, assist maker. Jones in the top 3.
Jones with 6 assists today. Nembhard with 4. Both have done a little bit of everything.
Way to back up my point, Kevin. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That guy right
Quentin
there.
Grimes has 5 assists, by the way, if you want me to keep going.
Well, there you go. He's the second best passer.
Numbers never lie. Here's Hero. A 3 for Kobe White. Yes, indeed. The North Carolina-bound point guard. All-time scoring leader in the history of North Carolina and the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state. 31, 10, and 8 this year.
And that's what he brings, the 3-point shot. Got long range. He's an assist maker. Tar Heels lose Joel Berry, Theo Pinson. So they're going to need points next year.
A little bit of an altercation right now in the crowd. Hence the reason for our delay. There was an argument over whether Tre Jones or Andrew Nembhard was the better passer. Some tremendous head coaches here. Corey, you know Steve Smith certainly well at Oak Hill Academy. 42-2 this year. 33-year head coach. For those that don't know Steve Smith, what kind of a head coach, what kind of a leader is he?
Well, he's a great leader. He's a tremendous person. I believe Paul can attest to that. You know, being around this game now in his 35th season at Oak Hill Academy, and you know, just a great person to be around. And of course, you know, if he can get me to come back to Malcolm Wilson and spend time there, of course, as much as I do, got to be a great guy to be around, because it's not much in Malcolm Wilson outside of Oak Hill.
Yeah, I think Steve Smith has a great gift to coach talent. You know, he's an even-keeled guy. He doesn't get too high with those guys, doesn't get too low. As you know, Corey, he holds them accountable, and at the same time, they have just enough freedom.
You know, and I always joke with him now, of course, being on his staff. He's gotten a lot softer in his older age now. He's not the same tough coach that he was when I played for him, of course, 27 years ago. You know, but still has the fire and the passion to get it done on the sideline, and enjoys being a part of these young men's lives.
He's got some good coaching around him. Nick Marinello, the head coach at Hudson Catholic, does an outstanding job. And Pat Strickland at Jefferson, Ohio from Portland. That's an all-star staff.
It's an all-star dunk. Kevin Williams, a rim wobbler, and then Grimes with a steal, and he's fouled. Great coaching on both of these benches. All-star players, all-star coaches. Steve Smith for the away team in black. Kevin Boyle, national champion for the 4th time in 8 years at Montverde Academy for the white team, assisted by Pat Clatchy from Mount St. Joseph and Nick Irvin from Morgan Park.
I've never seen Kevin Boyle sit and coach a game, and he's usually chewing gum. Now, he did an awesome job at the Geico Nationals. They won their 4th championship, but I think Kevin Boyle's got a little chill going on the sideline.
He really does, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's got my man Nick Irvin beside him. And of course, those who don't know, Nick Irvin, as Emmett Williams continues to become a household name here at the Jordan Brand Classic. Nick Irvin, the son of Mac Irvin, the great, and part of the great Mac Irvin Fire AAU program out of Chicago. So great to see Nick alongside Kevin Boyle over there today.
And Pat Clatchy, who coaches Jalen Smith. You got 3 head coaches. Great coaching went on yesterday, too, at the scrimmage. Let me say this right now. A lot of all-star practices I've seen. Yesterday was as good as I've ever seen, with Boyle and Steve Smith and their staff running the show.
I was a little shocked to see Coach Smith out there honestly running drills yesterday, though. It's been a long time since I've seen any of that happen.
Tyler Heroes had a great game, a little trouble dribbling here, and he floats it way short against Cam Reddish.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Tyler Heroes going to bring a great mid-range jump shot and a 3-point shot to Lexington.
Reddish, no. Good start, poor finish. Williams, when in doubt,
give it to Emmett Williams.
And if ever there's a poor finish, it's not going to be him. That's the guy that's finishing extremely well out here tonight.
14 for 15.
One thing about this class, it's not a great shooting class, but it is athletic, boy.
Williams is all the way down the floor. This is the ultimate cherry pick, and there's a foul, happily, for the black team.
Well, Emmett Williams has his eyes on that scoring record. As you mentioned, 14 of 15 from the floor, and they've all been relatively around the rim as he continues to finish and showing off a bit of the bunnies on the break.
Kevin Boyle likes it. Victor Cruz likes it. Williams 6 shy of LeBron James' scoring record.
Jordan Brand Classic is brought to you by Jordan Brand. Next versus next. Offer Deck Authenticated, the world's greatest memorabilia, and Gatorade Thirst Quencher, the proven sports fuel.
Brooklyn, New York, showing what we got. A little dance-off during the timeout. A 12-point lead for the white team, and I think this young man in the yellow with those sweet blue pants wins the dance-off.
I like his moves. I think he took a couple of those from me.
No question.
But I definitely like his moves. Although his competitor in the white shirt He looked pretty good out there, too. It was a strong dance-off.
It was not, let's say, me versus you.
No, it was nearly that close. That's like saying that someone is close to Emmett Williams for MVP in this game. And that's not even close, because what he's done thus far in this one has separated himself significantly from the rest of the crowd.
Nasir Little, who was the MVP in the McDonald's game, to Bol Manute Bol is his full name. His father, of course, a longtime player in the NBA, the legend on and off the court. Headed to Oregon. And Kobe White headed to North Carolina with a major throwdown.
This is the hardest I've ever seen Bol play. What he's done in this game, he's run the floor, he's got great hands. He's given effort this afternoon, and I haven't seen that during the high school year and the summer circuit from Bol. Today, he's trying, it's making a difference.
You know, and we talked about DeAndre Ayton earlier in the game and how he really stepped up his production once he got to college. If Dana Altman can get that motor going for Bol on a consistent basis, now you're talking about a guy that's got a strong possibility of being the #1 pick in the NBA draft in 2019 if he continues to allow that motor to ramp up and play the way he has. As you mentioned, Paul, same here. It's the hardest I've seen him play. If he's able to do that on a consistent basis, he becomes a significant factor.
Little. Oh, no! Nasir Little was going for the ultimate highlight slam. Got the back rim. He will shoot two.
I watched this guy 2 years ago in Florida at the Hoop Exchange. Nobody knew who he was. He was energy effort. He was above the rim. Now he's a big-time basketball player headed to North Carolina. He tried to rip that thing down, Corey. He wanted a piece of that rim.
After you left, did people know who he was?
I knew who he was. I'll tell you that.
And if you know who he is, then that means everyone else is going to know who he is.
We put him in the ESPN 60 as a junior. Then he comes into the ESPN 100. Nobody has improved more than Nasir Little. Close to him, Jalen Smith, in terms of improvement and moving up the ranks. Those two guys are going to have a bright future.
8 in a row for the black team. Cut this lead to 4. Hope for some competitive basketball in the final 6 and change. Jones, a contested shot. Kept alive by Reddish. Oh, Smith, it still counts. Style point 0, actual points 2.
The thing about Bol, all the dunks and the shot, how about his hands? He's 7'2". I know you throw it up to him, but he's catching everything they throw at him. He's got outstanding hands.
Smith gets behind Bol and slams.
He didn't have a choice but to dunk that, because had he not, Bol would have tossed it out of bounds.
How about the pass by Quentin Grimes in the class going to Kansas with Devon Dotson and David McCormick? That is a big trio going to Kansas. Dotson, one of the best passers and speed guys in the game as well.
Empty crossover and 2 for Kobe White. White with 19 to lead the black team. 12 players in double figures in the game. There's one of them. Reddish getting the crowd up with 17.
And Emmett Williams loving it on the sideline. And let's not forget, that's Duke, North Carolina. That's a battle we can see moving into the future, but I think we might have one right now.
Little against Reddish. Reddish is called for the foul on the way up.
You're not stopping Nasir Little. Powerful driver, post-up game, three-point game. How about Reddish? The step back, old school style. Nothing but net. Michael Jordan watching from up above.
Look at Emmett. Emmett's got maybe 13 dunks in the game, and that's the most excited that he's been.
Emmett is definitely a team player, no question about it. That's who he is. He's a guy that wants team success first, not as concerned about his individual status.
There we go. Reddish headed to Duke. Little, the future Tar Heel. Reddish smothered by Little. Oh, the denial.
That's how he started out in his career, as a defender, an energy player. Let's see what he's got on offense.
Takes the bump, and Little will get back to the line.
You don't want to challenge Nasir Little unless you're ready. for him to come back at you.
And Nazir Little, of course, Cam Reddish knocking down the first one. This time, Nazir Little using that wingspan to come up with a great block shot. And Paul, you remember we saw him actually go at it with Zion Williamson in the McDonald's game a little over a week ago. So Nazir Little always available to take on the challenge, and I love his competitive nature, the way he goes out and plays the game. He's not as talented as would be a Cam Reddish, but when it comes to heart and effort, Nazir Little, and not to say that he's a long way away from Cam Reddish, but his heart and the way that he approaches the game really puts him on a different level.
Well, his skill has improved so much. His three-point shooting over the summer has been outstanding. His game is about driving and posting up, but he stretched it out this summer with the three-point shot. We saw it at the McDonald's All-American game. We're seeing it tonight.
And you see he's waiting there. He's waiting to pick Cam up and take on the personal battle, as which we've seen. And all the players, everyone here in Brooklyn is looking forward to this battle as well.
Reddish, yes! Spins it home with the Barclays Center crowd on its feet.
And that might go back to why I said he's not as talented as Cam Reddish. There are very few guys at 6'8" that can make plays like that.
How about that, though, from Little with the offhand?
Hey, how about the spin with the left hand?
And how about the other four players in white moving to the other side of the court, allowing these two guys to go one-on-one?
Reddish for three, not even close. Williams is there for the throwdown.
And does that make Emmett Williams now the second leading scorer in Jordan Brand Classic history?
He's got 30 on 15 for 16, and I put the next word in quotes, shooting. Little again, stripped by Reddish, advantage Duke. Grimes up ahead with a throwdown. Here we go again. Nasir Little. And Little scores for the second time with the offhand, and we get a timeout. Little and Reddish ignoring the other 8 players on the court. Mano a mano here in Brooklyn.
But there's another guy who's stolen his show. That would be Emmett Williams. Emmett with the finish. And then just showing a little love.
Emmett Williams, LSU bound, number 21 player in the class, number 6 power forward. He has stolen the show, guys, here in Brooklyn.
It's been amazing. Finishing plays. His teammates have found him. A little kiss to the crowd. And when his teammates don't find him, he goes and finds the ball off the rim.
Only LeBron James sits ahead of Emmett Williams in the history of the Jordan Brand Classic. Jahlil Okafor, who plays on this court. Anthony Davis with 29. 2:58 to go. We'll see if Williams can get the record.
And now we see a little full court pressure. This is about the time when the game starts to get competitive. And it's about winning time. We see a little bit of a trap going right now to see if they can force a turnover.
Reddish up top. Williams, 32.
And 15 of those dunks. 15 dunks, right? On 32 points, at least.
16 of 17. And here's the steal. Emmett Williams. That's a man's jam.
I honestly believe that may have been a little bit staged. Darius basically is too good of a ball handler, pretty much to just give it to Emmett Williams. I'm sure they know what the scoring record is, and everyone here wants Emmett Williams to become the top scorer in Jordan Brand Classic history.
He has tied LeBron James at 34 points, 17 of 18 from the field. One miss, it was a missed dunk.
That was the actual miss where he elbowed Romeo Langford.
We haven't seen Langford since.
Williams has either scored or knocked a teammate out on a shooting attempt. Grimes with a 3, and with 2 minutes to go, the black team is going to need to get some points and some stops quickly to get back into this thing.
Let me say this about Quentin Grimes. Be one of the best guards in the Big 12 next year. Scoring, defense, passing, size at 6'4".
Missing a three there. It's Bol with an outlet. White, no dribbles. Oh, Smart to Little. UNC. Reddish with a quick miss for three, and was that not a dunk?
That was not a dunk.
To my eyes,
that was not a dunk, but it was the two-pointer that gave Emmett Williams the all-time lead in Jordan Brand Classic history, and I believe Nasir Little might be chasing a record himself.
I want to see Emmett Williams take a jump shot. Come on, one jump.
Amazingly, Emmett Williams, maybe his second layup of the game, is the one that sets the record at 36 points, most in the history of the Jordan Brand Classic. Ahead of LeBron James, ahead of number 4, ahead of AD. Headed to LSU as part of that number 5 overall class. 36 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 18 of 19 from the floor.
I think you called it, Corey.
Yeah.
Baisley gave it to him just to get the record. But right back at you, Nasir Little for North Carolina. This is a grown man going to North Carolina, folks.
Little's got 22. Strong effort by him and a hug between competitors. Some more pressure for the black team, and a mishandle by Grimes leads to a takeaway. Smart with a steal, and he's fouled.
Just think about how good LSU is going to be this year. Javonte Smart, Naz Reid, Emmett Williams, and they got another guy in the top 100 by the name of Darius Days.
And Tremont Waters still at LSU, so you can throw him into that mix. Of course, his ability to be able to shoot the basketball. Will Wade will be in his second year, so you know you love to see the talent that he's been able to bring in, but can he get that talent to mesh and for them to be successful in the SEC down in Baton Rouge? And Javonte Smart, in my opinion, I think, of course, from Baton Rouge, in a great get, because he's the type of point guard that all these other players want to play with. And I think that's really what helps when you get a point guard that is a ball sharer. I think that's the type of thing that gets those great recruiting classes started, similar to Duke with Trey Jones.
So the SEC brings in the most top 100 commits next year. They bring in 19 top 100 players.
And it could be more. If E.J. Montgomery and Romeo Langford, those guys decide to head to Vanderbilt, we could see even more.
And the SEC had 26 top 100 players this year as freshmen. That's why their conference was so strong.
Langford between Indiana, Vanderbilt, Kansas. Montgomery with a few schools left on his list. You mentioned Vanderbilt, Kentucky very much in the mix. Maybe Duke as well. There is Trey Jones headed to Duke, number 1 point guard in the class. And Grimes with the intercept. Give it to Emmett. Get the heck out of the way.
That's 38. He could get a 40-piece in here, and I don't know if it's enough time, but...
Oh, there's enough time.
Of course there's enough time.
Williams. That'll do.
That'll be the 40-piece.
20 of 21 from the field, Emmett Williams.
Isn't that Bill Walton?
I was just going to say that. Similar styles of game. Bill Walton in the national championship. Emmett Williams in the Jordan Brand. How about 42? How about it? Emmett Williams! Turn out the lights! 42 points, a Jordan Brand Classic record, as his college teammate to be, Javonte Smart, gets the final 2.
And somewhere my man Steve Reese, each one teach one, Oak Ridge High School, was smiling as his guy Emmett Williams has gone out and put on his show here in Brooklyn.
Emmett, one more. Yes. Beats the buzzer for 44. 22 of 23 from the field. A one-man highlight reel. Emmett Williams and Team White with a 10-point victory over Team Black.
Emmett Williams, the type of guy, everybody could go home. This guy would keep playing. He came out possessed, broke LeBron's record, tried to break the rim, had 22 dunks. He was amazing.
The record was 34 for LeBron James. It is now 44 for Emmett Williams. one missed shot, which was a dunk, as nearly every attempt was. He broke the record on a layup, then finished off with a few more highlight reel dunks. Nasir Little, 24 and 6 rebounds for the black team. Little be the MVP for that team. Emmett Williams, the MVP of the game with 44. He's with Pro.
Just an incredible performance. 44 points. You're the all-time leading scorer at this event. And, we were sitting over there talking for a few minutes, and you were telling me how much this game means to you. So tell the world now.
It means a lot because I think everybody slept on me with me going through my situation. But I want to say thank you to everybody that never gave up on me, man. I do this for my city, Fort Myers, Florida, and I also do this for my brother, man. I promise you will never be forgetting Stephon. And to the day as long as I'm still alive, you will always be remembered. But I also want to say thank you for everybody that put me in this event, and it meant so much, man. You guys don't understand how much how proud I am of myself. I be going hard day and night in the gym, and it's starting to see now, but you don't understand how proud I am of myself, man. Shout out to my mom, my dad. Like I said, man, shout out to my city, Fort Myers. People don't know about us, but I'm going to make sure people know about us, put us on the map. I got another person here, Destiny Henderson, man. We're the first two out of Fort Myers to do something for our city. And like I said, man, you don't understand how proud I am.
I like the shout out to Destiny Henderson, the #1 point guard on the girls' side. She's headed to South Carolina. What does it mean to you to have this kind of performance against peers, guys that you'll see in the NBA? I'm sure you want to be there too. What was that like?
It means a lot. Like I told these guys, man, this might be our last time ever playing with each other. Let's go up here and have some fun. Like I tell them guys, man, don't let the social media try to break us apart.
Yeah, social media is a huge part of this game today, and there's elements about how you guys can connect on a friend level but keep it competitive. How do you manage that in your life with everything and all the distractions?
Actually, when the girls on the sideline told me I needed 4 more points, I actually told the guys on the other team, they was like, man, steal the ball from me, man. Like, that lets you know guys really have love for you.
Well,
it means a lot.
Congratulations on the MVP award. We'll let you go celebrate with your teammates. Any message to Will Wade and LSU, Tremont Waters, that you're coming?
It's just a getting for you LSU fans.
Uh-oh. Watch out, Baton Rouge. He's coming.
Well, thanks, Sam, for joining us. As you guys suspected, a bit of a prearranged giveaway by Darius Baisley to give Williams the scoring record. He didn't need it. He got 10 more after that. Nasir Little gets the co-MVP. You get an MVP for each team, so Nasir Little wins the MVP of the McDonald's game with 28. He scores 24 here. Emmett Williams, 22 of 23 from the field. Absolutely ludicrous numbers. Nearly all of them were dunks. Jordan Brand Classic here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Be sure to tune in to Get Up tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Greeny, Beetle, and Jalen will be talking sports not too far from where we are, uptown in New York City's South Street Seaport. It's also streaming live on the ESPN app. Emmett Williams was the MVP for the white team. Nasir Little for the black team. One of the most fun parts of this game, guys, the duel between Little, North Carolina bound, and Cam Reddish headed to Duke.
Well, the two guys Paul and I highlighted at the beginning of the game. I took Cam Reddish, Paul took Nasir Little. Both those guys came up with huge performances in a one-on-one matchup, and they got a chance to talk with Brooke.
That's right. I'm standing next to Duke, Carolina-bound guys right here. Nasir Little with the co-MVP from the black team. Give us a little look at this trophy here. We got a jump man that's like 3D style. Pretty nice. How much fun was it for you to be out here against these guys today, the competition?
Yeah, it's great. As a basketball player, the goal is to compete. It's fun to play against great players like Cam. Just show the fans something.
Right. We were all waiting to see what you two were about to do next. What did it feel like going one-on-one here down the stretch against Cam?
That's really fun. He's a really good player. You got to respect that, but at the same time, we got to still compete and play hard. Fans looking forward to that Duke and UNC rivalry next year.
Yeah, no doubt. We can't wait to see it. Congratulations on the co-MVP. And Cam, you had everybody in this gym on their feet waiting to see what you were about to do next. What was going through your mind in the flow as you were out here dropping threes?
I loved it. I knew what to expect. That's how New York is. And I loved every bit of it.
Zion Williamson, I heard him from the bench giving you some grief a couple times. Friendly trash talk, of course. What kind of motivation was he giving you?
No, it's all fun and games at the end of the day. Me and him are really close. Obviously, he's a phenomenal player. But yeah, he was a little bit of motivation there.
Yeah. Well, we all got a taste of the Duke-North Carolina rivalry that is just so good. It gets better every year. When you think about Duke, North Carolina, what do you think about?
I think about history. I mean, there's so much that goes into that game. I mean, the fans are crazy. I mean, we prepare for that for like, you know, all summer and stuff like that. So I mean, I look forward to it.
Cam, thank you so much. Last question for you too. When you think about the Duke-North Carolina rivalry, what are you most excited about?
Man, just the energy. If you've ever been to a UNC and Duke game, it's just the energy level is different from any other game of any other sport at any level. So, you know, that's really what I'm looking to be a part of.
Awesome. Guys, congratulations. Well played today.
For both Duke and North Carolina are represented in our top 10 classes and in our top 10 players. 1, 2, and 3 for Duke and Nasir Little, number 10. Now, this is still 9 days away from the updated rankings, Paul Biancardi. April 17th, we're going to update the ESPN 100. I'm thinking Nasir Little may have a chance to jump ahead of that 10th spot. What do you say?
I think he has a really good chance. When you look at those rankings and you think about this class in the game today, the small forward position in my mind is the best position in the class. You look at R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, you look at Little. Those are guys that dominate the game, and that's the way the game is being played right now, with versatility and skill with size. Those guys are fantastic.
Well, for Duke, R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson did not play in the game, but they are numbers 1 and 2 in the class. We saw Reddish and Jones show off just how versatile, Corey, is this class for the Blue Devils.
Well, it's extremely versatile because you have, and you talk about those 3 guys, 1, 2, and 3, and each and every one of those guys can make plays for themselves and make plays for others, but they have the consummate point guard in Tre Jones, who, in my opinion, I think becomes the leader that they need, you know, in Durham for Coach K. He's a Duke type of point guard. Of course, his brother Tyus won a national championship at Duke, and Tre knows what it takes to be successful. He's got great mentors at home. His mother, Debbie, who's been through it before, and, of course, have the opportunity to play for Coach K. So I think this class will come together very well, and I think the fact that they're close now really helps them next season.
Everybody talks about how can all that talent play together. Well, it's real easy. They're unselfish. They pass the ball. They care about each other, and you talked about it, Corey. They have chemistry. They like each other off the court. That's going to translate on the court.
All right, so Duke fans are happy today, as they are most days. LSU is thrilled after seeing what Williams did, and Smart as well. Give me some other fan bases that should be happy coming out of today.
Kansas, without question. Quentin Grimes, David McCormack has not played in this game, and Devon Dotson, but I love the class going to Kansas. Quentin Grimes, to me, is going to be an outstanding player in the Big 12. He's a pro prospect that the NBA really likes.
And I think the Oregon fans should be extremely ecstatic about what they have coming. When you think about Will Richardson at the point guard position, and then Bol, who has #1 draft pick potential. If Dana Altman is able to get him to play with that type of motor, that he can realize that potential, I think Bol will be a special talent at Oregon next season.
And you got to love what the Tar Heels are bringing in. Nasir Little, Kobe White, Leaky Black, 3-man class. They need help. They're going to get it.
Well, the ACC tied with the Big Ten. 8 top 40 classes. No surprise to see the ACC there with the depth. The SEC right behind. Big 12 is 6. Pac-12, listen, it was really a disastrous ending to the year for the Pac-12. But UCLA, the #2 class overall. Oregon right behind them. There is some high potential for the Pac-12 to start building something again with some of the classes and some of the key prospects that are in this group.
Yeah, I love UCLA's class. You talk about all the top 100 players. Sharif O'Neal, Moses Brown, tremendous size heading out to Westwood. You're talking about 6'10", 7'2". They have a point guard by the name of Tiger Campbell that I absolutely love. Steve Alford restocking out in Westwood.
And when was the last time we talked about the Pac-12 top recruiting class and it wasn't Arizona? So there may be a bit of a changing in the guard in the Pac-12, which you mentioned, Steve Alford, what he's been able to do and what Dana Altman's been able to do in this offseason.
146-136 was your final score. Nasir Little, co-MVP for the black jerseys. Little, the MVP of the McDonald's game. 24 points, 6 rebounds here, and he won some terrific one-on-one duels with Cam Reddish, but it was all Emmett Williams. 44 points to shatter, to obliterate the Jordan Brand Classic scoring record. It was LeBron with 34 coming in. It's Emmett Williams with 44 going out, headed to LSU and Will Wade's Tigers next year. 146-136, your final score. Guys, a pleasure as always, a fun week. We'll see you on the summer circuit, right?
April 17th, the rankings will be changed. Will R.J. Barrett stay #1? That's the question.
I will not be hanging around Paul Biancardi that day. That's the day some guys are happy and many more are upset.
That's the day I don't answer my phone.
For Paul, for Corey, for Brooke, this is Kevin Brown. Thanks for watching. So long from Brooklyn. Sports Center coming up right now.